Welcome back to Tell Me More, y'all. Trump gives a terrible speech and the world leaders react to it. Horrible. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified when I upload. I'm sorry about the little YouTube pop-up at the bottom left of the screen, y'all. My computer, when I did record this, because I already watched it, this is like a pre-recording. When I did record this, it just wouldn't go away. I'm so sorry. I know y'all gonna bug me out in the comment section, y'all. Let's get right into it. Let's go.
And I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter because the teleprompter is not working. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting things, you know. They actually said during the campaign, they had a hat, the best-selling hat. Trump was right about everything. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true.
We are receiving queries. I would like to assure you that don't worry, the UN teleprompters are working perfectly.
Well, that was a train wreck. And if there's ever a metaphor for how Trump's UN speech went, well, here's the President and First Lady upon entering the UN building.
Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning. President Trump.
What is your message in light of the Palestinian?
You're going to push Zelensky for peace, President Trump.
In his address to the United Nations General Assembly, President Donald Trump delivered a speech, I guess, that's what it was, to world leaders, wherein which he bragged about violating international law, blamed climate change on immigrants, and complained about the wind not blowing enough, for of course making a plug for his campaign hats.
I've been right about everything. And I'm telling you that if you don't get away from the green energy scam, your country is going to fail. Many others. Likewise, in a period of just 7 months, I have ended 7 unendable wars. They said they were unendable. You're never going to get them solved. Some were going for 31 years, 2 of them, 31, think of it, 31 years. One was 36 years. One was 28 years. I ended 7 wars.
And the reaction, well, it was to be expected, wasn't it?
I think it's impossible to listen to Donald Trump appearing on the international stage and not think this man is literally unhinged, irresponsible, bizarre, bonkers, ludicrous. I don't even know why his staff are allowing him to stand in front of a mic at this point. It was completely incoherent. And, you know, I have many other, let's say, less polite even responses, but he's completely undermining U.S. authority on the global stage. He's undermining global peace. He's calling into question the purpose of the UN. He canceled UN funding. And here he is lobbying to get a peace prize. And the man is literally cozying up to our foreign adversaries. I mean, it's wildly irresponsible.
However, on hand to reflect on what was just an utter shambles, and not to forget a scathing indictment of the country as a whole, was CNN's Daniel Dale, who provided an in-depth fact check on the abundance of falsities, from his claims that he ended 7 wars to calling climate change, quote, the greatest con job.
There are a lot of issues there. So first of all, some of the conflicts he's counting as wars he resolved were not actually wars at all. For example, Egypt and Ethiopia have argued over an Ethiopian dam project on the Blue Nile, but they were not in a raging war in which thousands of people were being killed. Similarly, Trump has claimed that he prevented conflict between Serbia and Kosovo from resuming, but they were not in a raging war either. In addition, the conflict involving the Democratic Republic of Congo and neighboring Rwanda has not actually been resolved. We have good reporting from just a day ago talking about how hostilities have continued despite the peace deal that was signed under President Trump. And then in addition to that, India denies that President Trump was responsible for mediating its ceasefire, its truce with neighboring Pakistan. So a whole lot of issues with just that one claim. And Pamela, there were a whole bunch of other claims that were just out and out false. So I don't even have time to run through all of them. But on inflation, President Trump said that grocery prices are down during this presidency. They're up, and the pace of the increases is accelerating as the tariffs take effect. He has claimed that inflation has been defeated in general. No, inflation is also accelerating. It was 2.9% last month, up from 2.7%. He said that European electricity bills are high, which is true, but that ours are coming way down. No, in the U.S., they are increasing sharply, up 6.2% in August compared to a year prior. And there were a whole bunch of other topics. He claimed that he has secured $17 trillion in investment in the U.S. Well, just yesterday, his own White House press secretary said it was about $9 trillion in investment. So I don't know where the additional $8 trillion in a day has come from. And even that initial $9 trillion the press secretary claimed is highly dubious, counting a whole bunch of things that aren't actually spending, but rather are vague commitments from various countries. You and Kylie addressed the environmental claims. I just want to address one more. He claimed that China builds a lot of wind turbines and manufactures them for others, but refuses to use it itself, barely uses wind power. In fact, China is the world leader in the use of wind power. It is building additional wind power in China far faster than the pace at which the U.S. is building in the United States itself. So the idea that China is just, foisting this terrible source of energy on other countries while refusing to use it is a reversal of reality.
As bad as this was, there was also a moment in the speech where Trump thought it was the right setting to brag about his approval rating. Sorry, I said brag. I meant bold-faced lie, because it's plummeting.
But we have a border, strong, and we have a shape, and that shape doesn't just go straight up. That shape is amorphous when it comes to the atmosphere. And if we had the most clean air, and I think we do, we have very clean air. We have the cleanest air we've had in many, many years. But the problem is that other countries, like China, which has air that's a little bit rough, it blows. And no matter what you're doing down here, the air up here tends to get very dirty because it comes in from other countries where their air isn't so clean. The American public agrees with it. I mean, I was very proud to see this morning I have the highest poll numbers I've ever had. Part of it is because of what we've done on the border. I guess the other part is what we've done in the economy. Joe Biden's policies empowered murderous gangs, human smugglers, child traffickers, drug cartels, and prisoners from all over the world.
A recent Reuters poll dropped his approval from 42 to 41%, driven largely by worries about the economy and cost of living, which is on the rise. Only 35% approve of his handling of the economy, and a mere 28% say that he's dealing well with rising prices. And this was echoed throughout other polls like Newsweek, which showed his net approval sitting at around -8 points. I mean, the guy can barely rear his head above water on Fox News polls. That's how bad it is.
Before, when do you think that people are going to feel that? Because we do see polling that doesn't poll well in the economy. The recent Fox polling said 52% say the economy is worse under this administration. You've got unemployment at the highest rate in 4 years. Groceries made a big jump in the last term. So how is that? You're looking forward with these plans that you just talked about. When will people feel that, Mr.
Well,
Trump?
when the factories start opening. I mean, right now we're building them. And, Fox polling, I have to tell you, I've told you before, it's the worst polling I've ever had. It's always, during the election, they had me winning by a little bit, not by a massive amount. And Fox polling, I've told Rupert Murdoch, go get yourself a new pollster because he stinks. And this is for years now. But I will say that we have all of these things are being built. Car companies are moving back. We lost 50%, 54% we were the automobile capital of the world. And all of a sudden it got robbed by China, Japan, Germany, all these countries. Those companies, they're all coming back now to the United States. They're building car companies and factories all over. They're coming back from Mexico and Canada. We lost a lot to Mexico. We lost a lot to Canada. They're all coming back because of the tariffs. Without the tariffs, a different story, but they're coming back because of the tariffs. And you're going to see that kick in probably in a year or so.
Mm-hmm. So,
but we're doing well anyway. Look,
but on a broader scale, right? When a leader stands before world leaders and makes claims that are not only unsubstantiated, but oftentimes outright bananas, it feeds into the perception that the US is drastically undercutting its own credibility, which it is. When your speech has the fact checkers working the hardest in the room, telling, right? So tonight, Trump didn't just deliver a controversial speech. He laid bare contradiction after contradiction between what was said and what can be substantiated. And for a country that often pushes the standard of truth as part of its global soft power, these missteps remind us that rhetoric matters.